Have you ever imagined a world where darkness stretches farther than your eyes can see? Where giants glide silently, and every movement whispers secrets across invisible highways? Tonight, we will follow those giants, the whales, as they navigate the ocean's deepest shadows, using senses and songs we can barely fathom. Beneath the sunlit waves, the ocean transforms into an alien universe. Light fades quickly, leaving vast expanses where the water itself becomes a cathedral of silence. In this immense darkness, whales move with a grace and precision that has evolved over millions of years, guided by echoes, instincts, and an intimate understanding of the currents. Before we dive together into this quiet world, take a moment to settle into your space. If you're watching this from your cozy corner of the world, I invite you to subscribe to The Thoughtful Night and leave a comment below telling me where you are right now. Let's share this journey across oceans, time, and imagination. As you drift with me tonight, allow your mind to slow, your body to relax, and your curiosity to awaken. Imagine the deep, dark ocean stretching endlessly around you, full of secrets, songs, and whispers waiting to be heard. Let us begin our descent, following the giants of the sea, and discovering how they navigate the darkness that surrounds them. The surface of the ocean shimmers under the sun, a mirror to the sky above, yet just below that sparkling veneer lies a world almost unrecognizable. Darkness here is not simply the absence of light. It is a realm where sunlight fails to penetrate, where pressure and temperature define life more than warmth or visibility. As you descend in imagination, the colors of the sea fade, the blues deepen into indigo, then into the charcoal gray of near-perpetual night. This is the domain of the deep, an expanse so vast it can feel infinite, like drifting through an underwater cosmos. In the upper layers, where the epipelagic zone stretches about 200 meters deep, sunlight still filters through, painting patterns across the waves. But beyond that, in the mesopelagic zone, a dim twilight persists, barely enough for the eye to make out shapes. Descend further, and you enter the bathypelagic, the midnight zone, where light is swallowed entirely. Here, only the faintest traces of bioluminescence flicker, like distant stars in a black sky. Whales navigate these shadowed corridors with grace, their enormous bodies moving with a rhythm that feels both deliberate and instinctive. Pressure grows relentlessly with depth, and temperature drops, but life continues in astonishing variety. The deep ocean is a labyrinth of currents and subtle chemical gradients. Each current, each temperature layer, becomes a guidepost in an otherwise invisible landscape. Whales, in their migrations across thousands of miles, are intimately familiar with this world. Their movements are tuned not only to geography but to the rhythms of the sea itself, shifting thermoclines, tidal pulses, and the slow march of nutrients through the deep. The sensation of silence here is profound. Even sound behaves differently. It travels faster in water than in air, carrying messages long distances but also distorting in ways the untrained ear cannot interpret. Imagine being submerged in a cathedral where every structure is invisible, yet every sound reverberates, shaping perception. Whales inhabit this cathedral, listening, interpreting, and responding, painting mental maps of a realm invisible to human sight. Their understanding of space is less about vision and more about sensing the invisible forces and objects around them. The deep ocean is alien in the truest sense. Mountains rise from the seafloor, valleys descend into trenches, and underwater canyons twist like the grooves of some cosmic fingerprint. Bioluminescent creatures drift through the black, tiny flashes of light that hint at life but reveal little else. For whales, these faint glows are not merely decorative. They are markers, cues in a world where so much is hidden. They navigate between them, weaving through currents and shadows, guided by intuition, experience, and sound. Some species, like the sperm whale, dive for thousands of meters to hunt giant squid, relying on memory and subtle sensory inputs as much as sight. Others, like humpbacks, follow intricate migratory routes from polar feeding grounds to tropical breeding areas. Across generations, these patterns persist, carried in the bodies and brains of these oceanic travelers. The whale's awareness of their environment is both biological and cultural, shaped by evolution, experience, and social knowledge shared within pods. Sensory perception in the darkness is multidimensional. Touch, pressure, temperature, and vibration inform them of obstacles and prey. The water is alive with subtle cues, a shimmer of movement, a current brushing past a flipper, the resonance of distant whales communicating across miles. Every sense contributes to a detailed understanding of a space we cannot see. The ocean is not merely a void. It is a textured, responsive, and complex environment, as rich in information as it is in mystery. To imagine the whale's world is to rethink the nature of navigation itself. Unlike humans, who rely largely on sight and maps, whales navigate by integrating sensation, memory, and social guidance. They see currents and sound waves, read pressure shifts, and follow ancient migratory paths etched into generations of experience. It is an elegance of movement and cognition that feels almost magical when viewed from the human perspective, yet is entirely natural to the creatures themselves. In this world where light fades, whales have evolved a remarkable language of sound, a map invisible to human eyes. Their clicks, songs, and pulses will become our guide as we dive deeper into the ocean's darkness. And as we do, we will begin to understand how these giants communicate, explore, and navigate a realm so alien, it could be mistaken for another planet. Beneath the black expanse of the deep, where sunlight no longer reaches, the ocean becomes a living echo chamber. Here, in the absence of light, sound becomes the primary medium of connection. Whales, these enormous denizens of the deep, have evolved a language as intricate as any human invention. A symphony of clicks, pulses, and haunting songs that stretches across miles of invisible water. These sounds carry not only information but emotion, identity, and intention, forming an unseen network that guides whales through the ocean's vast darkness. Echolocation is the most striking of these adaptations. By producing rapid clicks and listening to the returning echoes, whales can see their surroundings in exquisite detail. The clicks bounce off objects, from a jagged rock to a school of fish, returning impressions that their brains convert into a mental map. Every pulse of sound illuminates the invisible, tracing shapes, distances, and even textures. Imagine it as an underwater flashlight, but one composed of vibration, resonance, and intuition rather than photons. Through this language of echoes, whales navigate narrow underwater canyons, avoid predators, and locate prey with astonishing precision. Beyond echolocation, whales communicate through complex songs, some lasting hours and spanning the entire oceanic landscape. Humpback whales, for instance, are renowned for their vocal performances, structured sequences of notes that evolve over time and can travel hundreds of kilometers. Each song carries information about the singer's identity, location, and emotional state. These songs are not static. They change seasonally and socially, spreading through populations like a living, moving tradition. In a sense, the ocean becomes a cathedral of sound, where each whale contributes to a collective chorus of knowledge and memory. Sound travels nearly 5 times faster in water than in air, and with far greater reach. This property allows whales to maintain contact across vast distances, even when separated by hundreds of miles of deep ocean. A single low-frequency call can traverse entire ocean basins, connecting individuals across time and space. Through these calls, whales maintain social bonds, coordinate migrations, and warn one another of danger. Their songs are simultaneously functional and poetic, practical and beautiful, a medium that bridges survival and artistry. Different species of whales use distinct ranges of frequencies. Low-frequency rumbles may carry information for long-distance communication, while higher-pitched clicks are ideal for echolocation and near-range navigation. Some whales can modulate these sounds, creating variations and patterns unique to each individual. The ocean, in turn, acts as both stage and amplifier, transmitting and transforming these sounds, shaping the way whales interpret their world. It is a dance of physics and biology, imagination and instinct, a conversation conducted entirely in vibration. Within pods, sound has yet another role: social cohesion. Whales learn from each other, mimic calls, and develop shared repertoires that function as cultural memory. Matriarchs often lead younger whales not only through migratory paths but also through patterns of vocal communication. In this way, songs become maps, encoding both geography and history. The ocean is alive with these invisible threads, connecting generations and guiding them across the dark expanses where vision fails. Every pulse, every song, is a thread in a complex tapestry, linking life across distance and time. Imagine being surrounded by these sounds. A chorus of low rumbles, punctuated by sharp clicks, weaving through the water like currents themselves. Each echo reveals a contour, a shadow, a fellow traveler. To the human ear, it might seem chaotic, even alien, but to the whales, it is clarity, an intelligible and reliable map of space and relationship. In the dark, where light cannot guide the eye, sound becomes the compass, the lantern, the lifeline. The songs also serve purposes beyond immediate navigation. They strengthen social bonds, establish dominance, court mates, and communicate moods. Humpbacks, sperm whales, and blue whales each have their own distinct vocal signatures, creating a complex symphony that fills the midnight ocean. Listening to these sounds, one can sense the vastness of the underwater realm and the intelligence required to thrive within it. Sound is life here, a medium that carries memory, emotion, and guidance alike. Human understanding of these vocalizations is growing. Scientists record whale songs, analyze patterns, and decipher social and migratory cues encoded within. But even with sophisticated technology, we can only glimpse the richness of this acoustic universe. The ocean's dark corridors remain, largely, a soundscape known intimately to the whales themselves. Each pulse is a note in a score written by evolution, a guide for life that stretches across generations. In this cathedral of echoes, navigation is inseparable from communication. The two are intertwined. Songs are maps, calls are instructions, and echoes are confirmations. In a world where eyes cannot see and light is rare, sound is the only true measure of space, the bridge between creature and environment. Whales, by mastering this invisible medium, have transformed the darkness into a place of certainty, connection, and exploration. With their songs, whales do more than navigate. They tell stories across oceans, messages carried by the water itself. And as we follow their voices deeper into the abyss, we will discover how echolocation allows them not just to detect the nearby, but to perceive the unseen, painting pictures with sound in a world we can barely imagine. Even in total darkness, the ocean is full of shapes, textures, and life, though invisible to human eyes. For whales, sight is only one piece of perception. Sound forms the foundation of how they experience this hidden world. Through echolocation, whales see with their ears, tracing the invisible contours of the sea, as if painting the darkness with delicate brushstrokes of vibration. Each pulse, each click, carries information about distance, shape, density, and motion, revealing an unseen world in astonishing detail. Echolocation begins with the production of sound. Specialized organs in the whale's head, such as the melon, focus and modulate these clicks. The pulses radiate outward, traveling through the water at incredible speed. When they encounter an object, they bounce back, returning echoes that the whale's auditory system decodes with remarkable precision. A single returning sound can reveal the size of a distant rock, the movement of a squid, or even the subtle current created by another whale swimming nearby. The ocean becomes a living map, constantly redrawn with each pulse and return. The brilliance of echolocation lies not just in navigation but in perception. Whales can detect objects smaller than a human fingernail at distances of several meters and discern obstacles or prey hundreds of meters away. For a sperm whale diving into the abyss to hunt giant squid, echolocation is essential. It transforms darkness into a three-dimensional space of contours, textures, and motion. Humans rely heavily on vision to understand space, but whales rely on sound to craft an intricate, ever-changing mental landscape. Beyond individual navigation, echolocation is a tool for social coordination. Pods of whales often travel together in tight-knit groups, and clicks help maintain spatial awareness among members. When a whale approaches a group, its pulses inform others of its location, orientation, and speed. These sound waves create an acoustic bubble around the pod, allowing coordination even in deep, lightless waters. Movement, hunting, and play become synchronized dances guided entirely by echoes, demonstrating the subtle intelligence inherent in their sensory world. Echolocation also reveals patterns imperceptible to humans. By listening to the returning echoes, whales can sense not just objects but textures and densities of the environment. They can detect water currents, thermoclines, and pressure changes. In essence, they read the ocean as a layered, responsive entity, sensing the very flow of life around them. The echoes become a dialogue. The whale sends a pulse, the environment responds, and the whale interprets the reply. Over millions of years, this dialogue has honed whales' ability to navigate complex landscapes, from the jagged peaks of underwater mountains to the rolling plains of the deep sea floor. In some species, echolocation takes on extraordinary sophistication. Beaked whales, for example, emit rapid sequences of clicks while pursuing elusive prey at great depths. Each rapid click provides updated snapshots of the environment, a constant flow of acoustic information that guides their bodies in tight precision. Humpbacks and sperm whales use lower-frequency sounds to detect larger features and maintain communication across vast distances. The combination of high and low-frequency signals allows whales to navigate both near and far, bridging the gap between intimate details and broad-scale orientation. Imagine swimming inside one of these echoes, feeling the pulse of sound ripple through the water, bouncing off invisible walls and creatures, returning as vibrations that shape a mental picture. To humans, this might feel like magic, a sensory perception that transcends sight, reaching into the very structure of the ocean. Yet for whales, it is ordinary, as natural as breathing. Echolocation transforms the unknown into the known, converting darkness into spatial understanding, fear into safety, and isolation into connection. Echolocation also teaches patience and attention. A whale must emit clicks at the correct intervals, interpret returning echoes accurately, and adjust its movements in response. Every journey through the abyss is a meditation in listening, a slow, deliberate conversation with the ocean itself. The technique demonstrates an intimate attunement to the environment, a balance between action and perception, movement and stillness. In this acoustic world, navigation is an art as much as it is a science. The sensory world created by echolocation is complemented by memory. Whales remember the echoes of familiar environments, recalling the shape of underwater ridges, the location of feeding grounds, and the paths of currents. These mental maps are both biological and cultural, shared within pods and passed down across generations. Each journey through the ocean's darkness is guided by echoes both present and remembered, a dialogue between past experience and current perception. Yet navigation is not only about sensing the near, it is about remembering the far, the paths carved across generations. The echoes of the present merge with the echoes of ancestors, guiding whales through the vast, lightless expanses of the deep. Echolocation allows them to perceive, interact, and navigate in a world that humans can barely imagine, transforming the blackness into a richly textured, dynamic, and knowable space. As we begin to follow these acoustic maps deeper into the ocean, we will see how whales combine the near and the far, sound and memory, to traverse unimaginable distances. In the next chapter, we will explore how their journeys become migrations, following ancient paths written across the ocean itself, and how these paths guide them across the darkness with astonishing precision. Across the ocean's vast expanse, whales undertake journeys that span thousands of miles, moving with a certainty that seems almost otherworldly. These migrations are not random wanderings. They are ancient, recurring voyages guided by instinct, memory, and environmental cues. From the icy feeding grounds near the poles to the warm breeding waters near the equator, whales traverse invisible highways carved into the sea over countless generations. Each journey is a testament to endurance, navigation, and an extraordinary attunement to the rhythms of the ocean. The scale of these migrations is staggering. Humpback whales, for instance, travel up to 5,000 miles in a single season, leaving behind the nutrient-rich polar waters to reach tropical seas, where they mate and give birth. Gray whales follow similar patterns along the Pacific coast, swimming between feeding grounds in the Arctic and calving lagoons in Baja California. These journeys take weeks, sometimes months, and require precise timing. Whales must navigate not only the physical space of the ocean but also seasonal changes in temperature, currents, and food availability. Their navigational toolkit is remarkable. Whales can detect Earth's magnetic field, using it as a compass to maintain direction across vast, featureless expanses. Celestial cues, such as the position of the sun, moon, and stars, may also assist in orientation. Ocean currents serve as invisible highways, guiding travel and conserving energy. Along the way, subtle gradients in temperature, salinity, and pressure provide additional markers, creating a multidimensional map that guides each individual through the deep. These natural signposts are integrated with memory, social learning, and instinct, forming a navigation system that is both precise and adaptable. Social knowledge plays a critical role in migration. Within pods, older whales guide younger ones along established routes, teaching them when to depart, how to follow currents, and where to find food and shelter. Cultural transmission ensures that each generation inherits the collective wisdom of its ancestors. A matriarch leading a pod is not just a navigator. She is a living map, encoding knowledge of feeding grounds, calving areas, and safe passages. The ocean's vastness becomes manageable through this shared memory, carried in the bodies and minds of those who have traversed it before. Migratory paths are more than practical routes. They are also shaped by the life cycle of the whales. Timing is essential. A mother whale must ensure her calf reaches warmer waters for birth, while returning to polar feeding grounds to rebuild energy reserves. Whales anticipate changes in prey abundance, the shifting patterns of plankton blooms, and even seasonal storms. Their migration is synchronized with the pulse of the ocean itself, a rhythm that has evolved over millennia. Each pulse of their journey resonates with the cycles of life in the sea. Environmental cues and sensory input guide them along these epic journeys. Whales perceive temperature gradients, water density, and even chemical signals in the water, allowing them to navigate through areas where visual landmarks are non-existent. Their echolocation continues to play a role, particularly when navigating complex underwater topographies like seamounts, canyons, and continental slopes. The combination of sensory perception, environmental awareness, and inherited knowledge allows them to maintain astonishing accuracy over distances that would overwhelm human navigators. The ocean itself is both map and companion. Currents serve as highways, easing the energetic demands of travel. Deep water trenches, ridges, and seamounts act as markers, subtly guiding movement. Even the moon's gravitational pull, influencing tides and currents, becomes part of their navigational understanding. Whales have internalized these patterns, moving in harmony with forces invisible to humans. Their relationship with the sea is not one of domination but of attunement, an exquisite sensitivity to subtle signals and rhythms. Consider the perspective of a migrating whale gliding through the deep, guided by echoes, currents, and inherited knowledge. The journey is not only physical but also a dialogue with the ocean itself. Every decision, to turn, to ascend, to dive deeper, is informed by a combination of sensory perception and memory. The darkness surrounding them is not a void but a living environment, responsive and structured, filled with invisible highways and signposts that only whales can read. Migration also embodies continuity. Paths used today mirror those taken by ancestors, stretching back thousands of years. Each journey reinforces a connection between past, present, and future. Whales become carriers of ecological memory, traveling through time as much as space. Their movements maintain not only their own species but also the balance of marine ecosystems, linking polar productivity with tropical abundance, predator with prey, and generations with generations. As they traverse oceans, whales rely not just on sound, but on a deep sense of place, an intuition woven into their very being. Migration is a lesson in patience, persistence, and awareness, an example of how life can navigate darkness and distance with grace. And in understanding these journeys, we glimpse a larger truth. Navigation is as much about knowing the world as it is about understanding oneself. The whales' ancient paths guide them, and perhaps they can guide our imagination as well. The ocean is more than a three-dimensional space to whales. It is a symphony of vibrations, currents, and subtle pressures that their bodies can sense with astonishing precision. Beyond echolocation and sound, whales rely on an intricate network of additional senses, each one tuned to detect the nuances of a world invisible to human perception. Touch, temperature, taste, and motion combine into a multisensory awareness, allowing these giants to navigate, hunt, and communicate in darkness with elegance and accuracy. Whales' skin is highly sensitive, able to detect even the faintest currents brushing past their bodies. Vibrations caused by nearby movements, shifting water layers, or approaching predators become part of their perception. In this way, a whale can feel the presence of other creatures long before sight or sound could reveal them. The flippers, tail, and even body contours act as instruments for sensing water dynamics, turning the surrounding sea into a living map of currents, pressure zones, and subtle changes in density. Temperature sensitivity is another essential adaptation. Whales can detect variations in water temperature that indicate the presence of currents, upwellings, or prey-rich zones. A sudden shift in a thermocline might signal an abundance of food or the edge of a nutrient-rich layer. By sensing these gradients, whales optimize their migrations, align with seasonal patterns, and position themselves where resources are most plentiful. Their bodies are finely tuned to the ocean's rhythms, capable of interpreting subtle cues that humans cannot even perceive. Some whales also have sensory hairs, known as vibrissae, near their mouths or on their heads. These delicate hairs detect touch and pressure changes in the surrounding water, providing additional information about nearby objects or organisms. The lateral line system, a network of sensory cells running along their bodies, similarly detects minute shifts in water movement. Together, these systems allow whales to read the ocean as a layered, responsive environment, turning currents, waves, and vibrations into a detailed mental map. Taste, too, can play a subtle role in navigation and survival. Chemical cues carried in water help whales detect prey, identify territories, and even sense reproductive status in other individuals. The ocean carries invisible markers, gradients of salinity, and traces of plankton blooms that whales can detect and integrate into their understanding of space. These chemical signals enhance the map they build from sound, pressure, and touch, creating a multisensory awareness that far exceeds human perception. Experiencing the ocean through these senses transforms a simple journey into an immersive dialogue with the environment. Whales feel the rhythm of currents, the pulse of distant clicks, and the temperature shifts across water layers. Their perception is holistic, integrating multiple forms of input into a coherent sense of space. In this world, navigation is not merely movement from one point to another. It is a constant attunement to the ocean itself, a meditation in listening, feeling, and sensing. These extraordinary senses also support hunting and foraging in darkness. When pursuing prey at depth, whales rely on the combination of echolocation, touch, and environmental awareness to locate and capture food. Vibrations in the water reveal the motion of squid or schools of fish. Pressure differences indicate obstacles or terrain features. Chemical traces confirm the presence of prey. In darkness, these senses merge into a seamless perception, allowing whales to operate with precision and efficiency. The integration of these senses also contributes to social cohesion. Pods of whales navigate together by sharing information sensed through sound, touch, and movement. Each individual contributes to the collective awareness, creating an almost telepathic coordination within the group. Matriarchs guide the pod, drawing on sensory input and accumulated knowledge to maintain direction, avoid hazards, and reach feeding or breeding grounds. The social and sensory landscapes overlap, creating a world where individual perception supports group survival. This multisensory awareness gives whales a profound connection to the ocean. Their bodies are not separate from the water. They are immersed within it, attuned to its subtleties, and capable of perceiving patterns invisible to humans. The ocean is not merely a medium to travel through. It is a dynamic environment, alive with information, rhythm, and life. Whales navigate not only space but also relationships, energy flows, and ecological patterns, all through the extraordinary integration of senses. But even with all these tools, the ocean's darkness is not merely physical. It is alive, filled with other creatures, echoes, and mysteries waiting to be known. Every pulse of current, every subtle vibration, every chemical hint is part of a hidden narrative, a story written in movement and energy. Whales are not only reading this story, they are participants, responding, interacting, and contributing to the unfolding drama of the deep. Their senses reveal the richness of life in darkness, a reminder that even where humans see emptiness, the ocean is full of meaning. By embracing this broader perspective, we begin to understand that whales' navigation is far more than mechanical movement. It is an art, a science, and a meditation all at once. Touch, pressure, temperature, and chemical awareness enhance sound and memory, creating a seamless perception that guides whales through darkness with astonishing skill. In their sensory world, the ocean is legible, navigable, and alive, a companion and teacher for those who listen deeply. In the deep ocean, no whale travels entirely alone. Life beneath the waves is a community, and survival depends not just on individual skill but on shared knowledge. Pods move like living constellations, each whale attuned to the presence, position, and movement of others. Within these groups, wisdom accumulates over time, passed from elders to juveniles, creating a collective memory that guides navigation, hunting, and social cohesion. The ocean becomes not only a space to traverse but a living network, with whales connected by invisible threads of sound, movement, and experience. Matriarchs often serve as living maps. Leading their pods, they remember the intricate routes between feeding and breeding grounds, recalling landmarks imperceptible to human senses. Subtle changes in currents, temperature gradients, and even the echoes of underwater formations. Younger whales learn to interpret these cues through observation and experience, internalizing the pod's collective knowledge. Over time, what begins as instinct becomes a cultural inheritance, a navigation system encoded in the minds and bodies of the group. Songs and calls are integral to this shared understanding. Whales communicate continuously, exchanging information about direction, threats, and opportunities. A single pulse may indicate the approach of a predator, while a long, low-frequency call can transmit positional information across vast distances. The ocean itself becomes a medium for education and guidance, carrying the pod's collective wisdom like ink across a page of water. Every vocalization, every echo, is a teaching, a reminder of where the pod has been and where it must go. Social learning extends beyond navigation. Whales also transmit techniques for hunting, recognizing safe passages, and responding to environmental changes. Pods are repositories of practical intelligence, blending experience with instinct. A young whale observing an elder's movements gains more than knowledge of direction. It gains an understanding of timing, patience, and the rhythm of the sea. This guidance is subtle yet essential. It is the difference between survival and peril in a world where darkness hides both opportunity and danger. The coordination within pods is extraordinary. Whales move in synchrony, turning, diving, and surfacing with precision that seems choreographed. Each movement is informed by the positions and signals of others, a dance of awareness and intuition. When feeding, they may herd prey together, creating patterns in the water that maximize efficiency and minimize risk. Even in darkness, no whale loses sight of its companions. Each is attuned to the pod's collective pulse, the invisible currents of shared experience that guide movement and decision-making. Communication and shared memory extend across generations. Cultural transmission ensures that long migratory routes and hunting techniques persist despite the constant changes of the ocean. Songs evolve, yet retain patterns recognized by those within the pod. Knowledge of safe passages, dangerous waters, and rich feeding grounds is embedded in each whale's understanding, forming a living map that spans both time and space. The ocean becomes a repository of collective wisdom, where individual experience merges with communal knowledge to create continuity and guidance. Imagine the ocean as a living organism, with pods of whales acting as neurons in a vast, responsive network. Each pulse of sound, each shift in direction, contributes to the understanding of the whole. Navigation is not merely an individual feat. It is a shared act, a conversation conducted in clicks, whistles, and echoes. The deep, dark waters, so often perceived as solitary and alien, are instead alive with connection and collaboration. Whales exemplify how life thrives not only through adaptation but through the conscious integration of social memory and cooperative intelligence. In the quiet of the deep, every pulse of sound is a thread connecting the present to generations past. A whale listening to a distant call participates in a dialogue that stretches beyond the individual, linking past migrations with future journeys. Each pod is a living chronicle, every song a page, every echo a note in the symphony of survival. This social wisdom transforms the ocean from an empty void into a complex, vibrant network of life and memory, where navigation is inseparable from community. Social maps also offer protection. Pods detect predators, avoid hazards, and coordinate movements to reduce risk. A group moving together senses currents, underwater topography, and environmental changes collectively, creating a safety net that individuals alone could never achieve. This synergy illustrates a profound truth. Knowledge is not only in the mind, but in the shared consciousness of the community, distributed through sound, motion, and experience. Through these connections, whales teach us an essential lesson. Navigation, perception, and survival are not solitary acts. In the ocean's darkness, the wisdom of the collective guides each individual. Pods move as one, their songs and echoes weaving an invisible map that sustains life across generations. In this deep, resonant world, social memory becomes as vital as instinct, sound as meaningful as sight, and the bonds of community as essential as the water itself. Even in the ocean's deepest darkness, light persists, though it is faint, fleeting, and strange. Bioluminescence transforms the black void into a constellation of whispers, tiny glimmers that flicker like distant stars beneath the waves. Jellyfish, plankton, and small fish emit delicate glows, painting trails across the dark water. To humans, this spectacle is enchanting, almost magical. For whales, it offers subtle cues, a gentle illumination that can hint at the presence of prey, predators, or companions moving silently through the dark. Some deep-sea creatures produce rhythmic flashes, while others glow continuously. The patterns are as varied as handwriting, signaling identity, mood, or location. Even the faintest shimmer can provide guidance, creating an underwater topography of light. Whales, sensitive to changes in light and movement, may use these glimmers as landmarks during hunting or migration. A streak of bioluminescence might indicate a school of fish, the swish of a predator, or simply the structure of the environment itself. In this way, light becomes part of the whale's sensory world, complementing sound, pressure, and touch. Bioluminescence also contributes to communication, though subtly. Some prey species produce light in response to disturbance, inadvertently signaling their location. Whales, tuned to detect these flashes, can respond with precision. The interplay of predator and prey creates a dynamic environment where light is a tool, a guide, and a conversation. In the silence and darkness of the ocean, even the smallest flashes become meaningful, threading through the deep with information invisible to the untrained eye. The ocean, in this sense, resembles a night sky. Glowing trails stretch like comets, clusters of lights resemble distant galaxies, and sudden flickers mimic shooting stars. As whales glide through this subtle universe, the bioluminescent displays provide context, a sense of movement and location in a world that humans might otherwise perceive as empty. The interplay of darkness and faint illumination creates a poetic backdrop, a visual echo of the acoustic symphony that whales navigate daily. Interactions with glowing prey are also a form of guidance. Squid and small fish often emit light when startled, creating transient markers that can be detected by whales hunting at depth. These flashes, brief yet distinct, form an almost accidental map, a set of signals integrated into the whale's broader sensory understanding. Combined with echolocation and other senses, these visual cues enhance their perception of the environment, adding a delicate layer of information in the otherwise impenetrable darkness. Bioluminescent light also underscores the rhythm and life of the ocean. Currents and turbulence animate the glowing creatures, creating a dynamic, flowing landscape. Whales, moving through this environment, experience the ocean as a living, breathing entity, where every pulse of light complements the pulses of sound and vibration. The ocean is not silent or empty. It is luminous in subtle ways, a gentle canvas upon which the movements of life are traced. To imagine swimming with whales in these waters is to sense the interplay of sound, touch, and light. Clicks bounce and return, currents brush against the skin, and distant flashes punctuate the blackness, guiding, informing, and inspiring. Every sense contributes to a holistic perception, transforming darkness into a richly textured, legible environment. Bioluminescence, though faint, becomes a companion, revealing patterns, rhythms, and movements otherwise hidden. These faint lights also offer reassurance and continuity. Even in the absolute dark of the bathypelagic zone, life persists. Flashes remind whales, and us, as observers, that the ocean is a realm teeming with existence, interconnected and alive. The giants of the deep move not in isolation but within this luminous ecosystem, their journey informed by both echoes and gentle glimmers. Light and sound together create a world that is not merely navigable but comprehensible, full of meaning and subtle guidance. Whales' sensitivity to these tiny beacons emphasizes the interconnectedness of ocean life. Predators, prey, and companions coexist in a delicate balance, each influencing and responding to the signals of others. The faint glows act as punctuation in the ocean's narrative, subtle markers in a landscape otherwise defined by darkness. Observing this interplay offers insight into how life adapts to extremes, using every available cue to survive and thrive. Even as light is scarce, the ocean pulses with life and rhythm, guiding these giants through their vast kingdom. Bioluminescence, together with sound, touch, and other senses, forms a multidimensional map that allows whales to navigate, hunt, and interact with grace. The ocean is both a challenge and a guide, its subtle signals shaping behavior and enabling survival. In this interplay of darkness and light, of echoes and glimmers, we glimpse the genius of whales and the delicate complexity of the deep. The deep ocean is a realm of both wonder and peril. Beneath the soft glow of bioluminescence and the rhythmic pulse of clicks, dangers lurk, silent yet formidable. Predators, environmental hazards, and human interference all shape the lives of whales, demanding resilience and adaptation. The vast darkness that allows freedom of movement also conceals obstacles, currents that shift without warning, and unseen threats that require constant vigilance. In this world, survival is an ongoing dialogue with the ocean itself, a conversation conducted through instinct, perception, and intelligence. Natural hazards abound. Predators such as orcas hunt with precision, using strategy, cooperation, and acute perception to track their prey. Whales must respond to these threats with awareness and agility, navigating not only space but also risk. Even the top of the food chain is not exempt from danger. The ocean is a complex system where every movement can ripple into consequences. Currents and underwater topography add another layer of challenge, presenting invisible cliffs, trenches, and turbulence that can disorient or exhaust the unwary. Human activity has added new challenges. Noise pollution from ships, sonar, and industrial activity interferes with echolocation, masking the subtle sounds whales rely upon to navigate and communicate. Collisions with vessels, entanglement in fishing gear, and habitat disruption create additional threats. These challenges, often invisible to us on the surface, are very real to whales navigating the deep. Adaptation has become essential, not only to survive natural conditions but also to contend with human-made hazards. Yet whales display remarkable resilience. Pods alter their migration routes in response to noise and danger, change their diving patterns to avoid ships, and adjust vocalizations to communicate despite interference. Their social structures, collective wisdom, and multisensory perception allow them to navigate these added challenges with subtlety and grace. The ocean may be unpredictable, but whales demonstrate a capacity to interpret and respond to even the most unexpected disruptions. Climate change also reshapes the deep. Rising temperatures, shifting currents, and altered food availability all affect whale behavior. Feeding grounds may become less productive, breeding grounds may shift, and migratory routes may need adjustment. Whales, with their combination of memory, instinct, and social learning, respond to these changes in ways that humans are only beginning to understand. Their ability to adapt reflects an extraordinary attunement to the dynamic nature of the ocean, a sensitivity that balances risk and opportunity in the darkness. Despite these pressures, the deep ocean is also a place of calm, wonder, and continuity. Whales have evolved strategies that allow them to navigate, hunt, and socialize even in extreme conditions. Echolocation provides guidance, social structures offer protection, bioluminescence adds context, and their senses integrate every subtle cue into a coherent understanding of space and safety. Even in a world full of potential hazards, life persists, resilient and elegant, guided by both instinct and experience. Challenges in the deep are often hidden, yet they shape every journey. The currents that carry whales toward feeding grounds can also sweep them off course. The faint sounds that signal prey can be masked by competing echoes or environmental noise. Whales must balance vigilance with the necessity of movement, attuning themselves to countless variables in a fluid, three-dimensional world. In this environment, survival is a meditation, a constant negotiation between perception, action, and adaptation. The ocean's darkness amplifies both beauty and danger. Each dive into the abyss is a test of skill, memory, and cooperation. Predators, shifting currents, and unseen obstacles demand focus and coordination. Yet the same darkness reveals the deep's wonder. Shimmering bioluminescent trails, echoes of songs, and the graceful movements of pod members. Whales navigate this duality with mastery, turning the challenges of the deep into part of their natural rhythm. Through these trials, whales embody resilience. Their adaptations, echolocation, multisensory perception, social memory, and behavioral flexibility allow them to respond to hazards while continuing their long migrations and maintaining social bonds. Each obstacle, whether natural or human-made, is met with strategies honed by evolution and reinforced through experience. In this sense, the ocean's dangers are also opportunities, shaping intelligence, cooperation, and survival skills. Yet, despite all obstacles, whales continue their journey, guided by instincts as old as the oceans themselves. Every pulse, every song, every measured movement demonstrates an intricate understanding of their environment. Challenges exist, but they are not insurmountable. The giants of the deep navigate with awareness, grace, and an intimate connection to the rhythms and signals of their world. In the quiet darkness, resilience becomes a form of poetry, a testament to life attuned to its environment, surviving, thriving, and moving forward with calm determination. Beneath the waves, the ocean carries echoes of time. Currents trace paths carved over millennia, temperatures record seasonal shifts, and the rhythms of tides mark cycles as old as the earth itself. Whales navigate within this vast, dynamic archive, drawing on a deep reservoir of knowledge embedded not only in their bodies, but also in the collective wisdom of generations. The sea is alive with memory, and these giants are among its most sensitive and attentive custodians. Whales are living record keepers. Each migration, each movement, and each song carries fragments of ecological and geographical history. Feeding grounds reflect the abundance of plankton blooms shaped by decades of currents. Breeding areas remain consistent across centuries, passed down through matriarchal instruction and social learning. In following these routes, whales engage in a dialogue with the past, reading the layers of memory stored in water, terrain, and tradition. The ocean, in turn, becomes a living archive of life and time. These memories are not abstract. They are encoded in action and experience. A pod traveling to a calving ground carries knowledge of temperature gradients, safe passages, and predator zones. Matriarchs guide younger whales through these spaces, demonstrating the importance of learned experience alongside instinct. Cultural transmission ensures that each generation benefits from the collective wisdom of those who came before. Over thousands of miles, in near total darkness, the ocean's memory becomes a lifeline, a map written in experience and reinforced through social cohesion. Long migrations themselves reinforce memory. As whales traverse the ocean year after year, they remember currents, depth contours, and ecological cues. Each journey is a practice, a reaffirmation of routes that have persisted across time. Through repetition, these paths become ingrained, linking the whales to both place and history. In essence, every pulse of sound, every glide through the water, is a page in the living ledger of the sea. The whale's navigation is thus both spatial and temporal, reading the past while moving forward. The ocean itself holds these memories in subtle ways. Deep-sea currents carry chemical signatures of plankton blooms, salinity patterns mark the movement of water masses, and the shape of the seabed records geological shifts. Whales perceive these markers, integrating them with echolocation and social knowledge to navigate with astonishing accuracy. In doing so, they participate in the ongoing story of the ocean, aware of patterns and changes that humans can barely detect. The ocean's memory is vast, but whales are adept interpreters, translating subtle signals into actionable knowledge. Social memory amplifies these effects. Pods share knowledge of feeding and breeding areas, hazards, and navigational strategies. Songs and vocalizations encode directions, identities, and past experiences. A whale hearing a call from another hundreds of miles away can respond not only to immediate information but to layers of learned understanding embedded in that song. Memory becomes communal, extending across space and time, connecting generations in a continuous chain of knowledge. The interplay between individual perception and collective memory creates a resilient system. Even if a young whale has never encountered a particular current or landmark, it can follow the guidance of elders, combining instinct with learned information. Each migration becomes a rehearsal, refining both personal and social memory, ensuring that knowledge persists across generations. In this way, whales and the ocean maintain a dialogue that preserves the past while guiding future movement. The ocean's memory is also a record of life itself. Seasonal patterns, reproductive cycles, and predator-prey interactions leave traces in the physical and acoustic environment. Whales, attuned to these signals, perceive not just geography but the temporal rhythms of life within the sea. Every pulse of water, every echo, every subtle chemical cue adds to a living archive, informing behavior and reinforcing connections between life and environment. Navigation becomes inseparable from understanding the ocean as a temporal and ecological landscape. In these echoes and currents, we glimpse a truth. Navigation is not merely movement from point A to point B. It is a conversation with history, a recognition of continuity, and an attunement to patterns far beyond the individual. Whales embody this understanding, navigating not just space but time itself. Through their migrations, social bonds, and acute perception, they become living interpreters of the ocean's memory, carrying knowledge forward across generations. And in these echoes, in these currents, we glimpse a truth. Navigation is not just movement. It is a dialogue with the universe itself. Whales remind us that understanding comes not only from observation but from connection, participation, and memory. The deep is alive, resonant with the experiences of countless generations, and those who listen carefully can sense the continuity and wisdom woven through the ocean's eternal rhythm. In the deep silence of the ocean, whales move with a grace that feels almost otherworldly. Their journeys, stretching across thousands of miles and generations, carry lessons not only about survival but about perception, awareness, and connection. Watching or imagining, their movements offers insight into a world where patience, attentiveness, and harmony are essential. These giants teach us that navigation is more than reaching a destination. It is a way of being attuned to one's environment, listening deeply, and moving with purpose. Whales show the power of listening. In darkness where sight fails, sound becomes the map, the compass, and the language of connection. Echolocation, vocalizations, and subtle pulses of the body allow them to perceive what humans cannot. They remind us that understanding the world often requires more than observing. It requires listening, feeling, and attuning ourselves to patterns beyond the immediately visible. Every journey through the deep is a meditation in attention, a practice in being fully present within a vast, dynamic environment. Their social structures teach the value of shared knowledge. Pods navigate collectively, guided by elders and matriarchs who carry the memory of generations. Young whales learn from the wisdom of their predecessors, integrating instinct with experience. This social learning demonstrates that survival and success are often communal, that listening to others and honoring shared memory can guide us through complexity. In a world where humans often prioritize speed and independence, whales remind us of the quiet power of patience, mentorship, and collaboration. Whales also illustrate resilience in the face of challenge. Predators, shifting currents, human interference, and environmental change all demand adaptation. Yet, these creatures persist, responding to hazards with skill, flexibility, and grace. Their ability to adjust, to reinterpret the environment, and to navigate unseen obstacles embodies an elegance of survival that combines instinct, intelligence, and cultural memory. Observing their adaptability encourages reflection on how we too might move through challenges, attuned, resilient, and aware of the subtle cues around us. The lessons extend to perception itself. Whales navigate a world of darkness not as limitation but as opportunity. Through sound, touch, vibration, and memory, they transform absence into understanding, uncertainty into clarity. Their senses are integrated, their awareness holistic. They teach that limitation can foster creativity, that constraints can reveal hidden capacities, and that engagement with the world requires flexibility and attentiveness. In this way, whales model a profound harmony with their environment, a rhythm of interaction that is at once practical and poetic. Migration demonstrates the importance of timing and alignment. Whales move with seasonal rhythms, currents, and celestial cues, integrating multiple scales of information to maintain direction and safety. Each pulse of movement is deliberate, each course correction informed by memory and observation. The ocean is not traversed randomly. It is read, interpreted, and respected. From this, we can take inspiration. Movement through life benefits from awareness, mindfulness, and attunement to the larger patterns surrounding us. Even the subtle glimmers of bioluminescence offer metaphorical lessons. Light in the darkness, though faint, provides guidance. Small cues, gentle signals, and quiet observations often carry profound significance. In our own lives, we can learn to notice the small lights, the whispers, the subtle signs that guide decisions and reveal paths forward. The whale's world demonstrates that awareness is an accumulation of small, precise perceptions, integrated into a coherent understanding of space, time, and community. Whales' interactions with one another and the environment illustrate interdependence. Each pulse, movement, and song is part of a larger system, demonstrating that individual action is inseparable from collective existence. They reveal that listening, empathy, and responsiveness are essential, not only for survival but for harmony. The ocean becomes a metaphor for life itself, a vast, interconnected space in which patience, perception, and cooperation enable continuity and flourishing. Finally, whales remind us of the poetry of life. Their navigation is not mechanical. It is art. It is a balance of instinct, memory, and sensory awareness, a dance through darkness guided by both present perception and ancestral knowledge. Watching or imagining them teaches reverence for complexity, patience with uncertainty, and joy in attunement. The deep ocean becomes a classroom in which the giants offer lessons in presence, connection, and the gentle art of navigating both visible and invisible worlds. As you carry these reflections with you, consider your own navigation. How do you move through darkness, uncertainty, or vastness? What cues do you trust, and which lessons are passed down to you from experience or the guidance of others? Whales teach that navigation, whether across oceans or through life, is an act of listening, observing, and harmonizing with the rhythms that surround us. They show that wisdom lies in integration, patience, and awareness, and that the greatest journeys are guided by both insight and connection. Through their journeys, social memory, and attunement to subtle cues, whales offer a final meditative teaching. The ocean may be vast, dark, and mysterious, but it is navigable through awareness, cooperation, and respect. And in embracing these lessons, we can imagine our own inner journeys with similar grace, patience, and attunement to the hidden currents that guide our lives. Slowly, as the whale's journeys fade from memory, allow yourself to rise gently toward the surface, feeling the weight of the deep ocean lift from your mind. The darkness of the abyss begins to give way to the soft, forgiving light of awareness. Each breath carries the rhythm of the whale's movement, steady and deliberate, a reminder of patience and presence. You are not rushing, not struggling. You are simply returning, carrying with you the echoes of the deep, the lessons of the giants, and the stillness of the sea. The ocean's vastness mirrors your own inner world. Like the whales, you navigate through currents of thought, waves of emotion, and hidden passages of memory. You have drifted through darkness, explored unseen depths, and listened to the subtle cues that guide life below the surface. And now, as you rise, you carry the calm wisdom of those silent travelers, their journeys reminding you that guidance exists even where light seems absent, that intuition, patience, and awareness can illuminate the way. Notice the sensations around you as you emerge. The gentle pull of gravity, the subtle pressure of air, the soft rhythm of your heartbeat. All are reminders of your presence in this world. The echoes of the ocean linger, a quiet hum beneath your consciousness. Whales have taught you how to move attentively through darkness, how to listen, and how to trust in memory, instinct, and guidance. These lessons extend beyond the deep. They apply to every path you walk, every choice you make, every quiet moment of reflection. As you breathe, imagine carrying the vast, serene energy of the ocean within you. The pulses of sound, the flashes of bioluminescence, the flow of currents. They have been your companions, teaching you about harmony, resilience, and connection. You are not separate from this rhythm. You are part of it. Just as the whales glide with grace through hidden realms, you can move through your own inner landscapes with awareness, calm, and patience. Take a moment to honor the journey. The ocean, with all its mysteries and challenges, has guided you. The whales, with their ancient wisdom and sensitive perception, have shared their insights. And you, in turn, have witnessed, listened, and absorbed. Every subtle detail, the faint glow of light, the echoing song, the sensation of currents, has contributed to this shared meditation. Let these lessons settle gently within you, a soft imprint of calm understanding and quiet wonder. Before you fully return, consider sharing this journey with others. If tonight's voyage through the ocean's darkness brought you peace or wonder, consider subscribing to The Thoughtful Night and sharing in the comments where you were as you listened. Your presence, your reflections, and your voice become part of this quiet, shared ocean of thought. Just as whales connect across vast distances, we too can connect through attention, care, and awareness, bridging space and time in small, meaningful ways. As you open your eyes, imagine surfacing gently into morning light or the quiet comfort of night. The air fills your lungs with soft reassurance, carrying with it the lingering calm of the deep. You bring with you a new perspective, patience in motion, awareness in stillness, and the knowledge that even in darkness, guidance and connection exist. The ocean's mysteries are now part of your inner landscape, and the lessons of the whales are yours to carry forward. Rest in this gentle understanding. The ocean is vast, the whales are resilient, and you are connected to the rhythms of life, to the wisdom of nature, and to your own capacity for calm and insight. Let the quiet continue to flow, a lullaby of presence and reflection. And whenever you drift into thought or sleep, remember the deep, dark sea where giants navigate with grace, and know that you, too, can navigate your world with awareness, patience, and serenity.